The conflict that had started as a series of small, seemingly insignificant disagreements had grown into something much larger, something that now threatened to consume everything Leslie and I had built together. My love for balance and harmony, qualities that had always guided me, now seemed to be slipping away, replaced by a growing sense of anxiety and despair. The very traits that had once brought me joy and fulfillment were now the source of my deepest pain. The apartment, once a sanctuary of peace and beauty, had become a place of tension and unease. The walls that I had so carefully decorated, the furnishings that I had chosen with such care, now seemed to close in on me, their beauty overshadowed by the weight of our unresolved conflicts. The soft lighting that used to create a warm, inviting atmosphere now felt oppressive, casting long shadows that seemed to mirror the growing darkness in our relationship. And that Leslie and I had always been different in our approaches to life, but those differences, once complementary, now felt like insurmountable barriers. My Libra nature, with its need for balance, fairness, and aesthetic appreciation, had always driven me to create a world where everything was in perfect harmony. But that very need for perfection had become a burden, pushing Leslie and me further apart. I found myself caught in a cycle of indecision and overthinking, unable to find a way to bridge the gap between us. I wanted to restore the balance that had once defined our relationship, to find a solution that would bring us back to the harmony we had shared. But every attempt seemed to fall short, each effort to reconcile only deepening the divide. My desire for fairness, for ensuring that both of our needs were met, had become a source of frustration rather than connection. Leslie, once patient and understanding, had grown distant. I could see the weariness in his eyes, the way he withdrew from our conversations, the way he avoided the spaces in our home that I had once filled with love and care. The conflicts between us had eroded the trust and intimacy that had been the foundation of our relationship, leaving behind only the hollow shell of what we once were. I couldn't help but feel that I had failed, that my relentless pursuit of beauty and balance had blinded me to the deeper needs of our relationship. My Libra characteristics, which had always been my strengths, now felt like weaknesses, traits that had pushed Leslie away rather than drawing us closer together. I had always believed that if I could create a perfect environment, everything else would fall into place. But I had come to realize that beauty alone was not enough to sustain a relationship. The days grew longer, each one filled with a growing sense of dread, as I watched the distance between us widen. The apartment, once filled with laughter and warmth, was now a place of silence, the only sounds the ticking of the clock and the occasional creak of the floorboards. The very space that I had designed to bring us together had become a battleground, and I could feel the battle slipping out of my control. I tried to find solace in the things that had once brought me comfort: the soft cushions on the couch, the delicate flowers on the table, the art on the walls, but none of it could fill the void that Leslie's absence had created. I had lost him, not in a physical sense, but in a way that felt even more final. The connection that had once been so strong was now broken, and I didn't know how to mend it. The turning point had come and gone, and I had failed to make the right choice. My need for harmony, my fear of conflict, and my inability to let go of my ideals had all contributed to the downfall of our relationship. Leslie had grown tired of the constant tension, of the endless attempts to create a balance that seemed increasingly impossible to achieve. And in the end, he had made the choice that I had been too afraid to face. He left. The day he walked out, the apartment felt emptier than it ever had before. The silence was deafening, the emptiness overwhelming. I wandered through the rooms, unable to accept that he was really gone, that the life we had built together had come to an end. The beauty of the space I had so carefully crafted now felt like a mockery, a reminder of everything I had lost. I couldn't escape the feeling that it was my fault, that my Libra characteristics, my desire for balance, my need for beauty, my fear of conflict, had all played a role in pushing Leslie away. I had wanted so badly to create a perfect life, but in my pursuit of that ideal, I had overlooked the most important thing of all: the need for understanding, compromise, and true connection. The apartment, once a reflection of my deepest values, now felt like a prison, a place where I was trapped with my regrets and my guilt. The soft light that once brought warmth and comfort now cast harsh shadows, The delicate flowers on the table withered. The art on the walls seemed cold and lifeless. The beauty that I had cherished now felt empty, devoid of meaning without Leslie by my side. I spent hours sitting in the living room staring at the space that had once been our home, unable to move, unable to think. The silence was suffocating, the loneliness unbearable. My thoughts spiraled, and I couldn't escape the feeling that I had lost everything, that my need for balance and harmony had led to the destruction of the very thing I had valued most. As the days passed, the reality of Leslie's departure began to sink in. The apartment, once filled with life and love, was now just a collection of objects, beautiful but ultimately meaningless without him. The life we had built together was gone, and all that remained were the remnants of my failed attempts to hold on to something that had already slipped away. In the end, my Libra characteristics, which had always been my guiding principles, had become my downfall. My desire for beauty and harmony had blinded me to the deeper needs of our relationship, and my fear of conflict had prevented me from addressing the issues that had driven us apart. I had wanted to create a perfect life, but in the process, I had lost the one thing that truly mattered. Leslie was gone, and I was left alone in the empty apartment, surrounded by the echoes of my mistakes. The beauty that I had once found so comforting now felt like a cruel reminder of everything I had lost. The harmony I had sought was shattered, and the balance I had tried so hard to maintain was gone. As I sat in the silence, I realized that there was no going back, no way to fix what had been broken. The sadness I felt was overwhelming, a deep ache that consumed me. The story of Leslie and me had ended not with a resolution, but with a sad final goodbye. And as the days turned into nights and the nights into days, I was left with nothing but the memories of what could have been, and the painful knowledge that I had let it all slip away.